Oh shit! I got popcorn in my beard. Hey man, that the joys of going. Damn, now I'm choking. Now I'm choking on popcorn. Hey, the joys of going live. Hey, I should have known better because we've had incidences on radio before with popcorn, uh, certain types of candy, snacks, and things like that. Like you just shouldn't eat or drink or whatever when you're doing live radio. And for whatever reason, my idiot self always likes to break the rules and go against the grain. I'll be fine. I'll never do it again. All right. Anyway, man, welcome to episode 66 Susio Sports, presented by Gel Blasters and Inplay Dogs. Um, I am Jermaine. I'm here live with y'all. See, we got Inplay Dog, Gel Blaster, Gel Blaster, Inplay Dog, Flippy Floppy. But yeah, we live here, episode 66 Susio Sports. Um, Let me go ahead and play the music. It's kind of loud. My bad. What's so with it, ho? How you talking about that life, but you ain't never lived it, though? I don't want your baby mama. You ain't got a panic, color, bird brain, bitches. Not they calling me satanic. Don't you understand it? Your man is a sucker. Don't take me for granted. I'ma watch you suffer. Now I'm finna power up like Super Saiyan colors, put my whole fam on. Watch the Wayans brothers. TYE square. TYE is scary dude. Everybody hate Chris, but my sister, like she married dudes. I mean, fucking white chicks, like a very few. Got my muscle up and now. Pop my shit like Terry Crews. Ooh, I smoke. Nobody, but if I did, I wouldn't tell a soul. You wouldn't nobody. I'll be flying solo. I don't really need no co-pilot. She walk 1,000 miles. But I prefer a bitch with low mileage. TYE so childish. What you mean? Grow up. I don't trust that label. They don't work until he blow up. 50 on this. So they can make the streams go up. Lucius line dance, nigga. And your inpots. Go up. Square ass, nigga. Ain't no problem. Try to fight it, nigga. Piss me off. I like it, nigga. Don't get me excited, nigga. How you playing gangster games and this up and type this, nigga? I don't want to hurt him like the Jake Paul versus Tyson, nigga. Hey, shout out to Keyz for that one, man. I like that one. I like that one. Usually, when they send me a suggestion or something, as is tradition here, if you've been rocking with us on Susio Sports, it's episode 66, presented by Gel Blasters and Inplay Dogs. Look at that. I finally remember where I keep the stupid logo at, so when I'm solo, I could switch between the two sponsors. I be forgetting sometimes, but anyway, we here now. But no, like it's with tradition. Whenever they send me something, no matter who it is, who suggestions I get, normally it's Keyz or one somebody from the crew or something like that. Like I don't listen to it, don't watch it or nothing until we go live and I hit play. I just queue it up on YouTube. So whatever live reaction y'all get, that's what I'm giving y'all. Um, ain't no faking, fronting, or nothing like that over here. So we try to keep it all the way real, inform and entertain. Speaking of informing and entertaining, I was sitting here watching AEW right now, Dynamite, and I was calling him Trevor for a minute because I couldn't call him Ricochet because he was still like just kind of not hidden for me. But now I'm starting to really connect with this new character change that he's gone through, like this kind of goofy, quirky, corny psychopath kind of, whatever he's doing right now, whatever it is working for him, and I'm digging it. But anyway, man, it's been one hell of a week, crazy week. Um, just a lot going on, but we committed to the bit, so we here. But the biggest thing, honestly, this week has been the NBA All Star Weekend, and said fallout from it. Um, the most exciting thing that happened this weekend was, of course, the dunk contest. And I won't even say, of course, it was the dunk contest. It should have been the All Star game, and it used to be the 3-point contest. However, Jalen Brunson and Cade Cunningham failed to get the people their 50% discount on DoorDash. So that's where I soured on the 3-point contest and turned it off and wasn't paying attention to it because I was looking for that discount. But once that like failed to pop off and you didn't really like have a reason to like watch it. Well, before that, you had Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama cheating in the skills contest and getting disqualified and then being upset about it. Like, I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. If you've ever had a conversation with me about stuff like this, you know how I feel. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. And there's only cheating unless you get caught when it comes to competition in sports. I'm the kind I push things to the edge. Don't cross the line. Approach it. Get real close to it. I mean, maybe step on it or something, but don't cross the line. What they did, that was like, okay, you really skirting the system right now. So it's, to me, it didn't fall with me, and I take all of my previous angst or anything that I had about Wimby out of the view of it and just look at it objectively. And I'm like, bro, that was corny. You should have known something was gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? What up, Marty? But you should have known you wasn't gonna get away with that. Like, come on, bro. Like, you didn't even make. I could see if you like at least attempted to shoot the ball, but you just literally you weren't even looking at the basket. You just threw it at it. Like, I applaud the effort. I mean, they tried it. They tried it. They just didn't get away with it. And they should have known they weren't gonna get away with it, especially the way you execute it. It's like you can cheat and you can push the line. You know what I'm saying? Come up to that line, step on it or whatever. But at least like make it look good. They didn't even try to make it look good. That's the problem that I have. I mean, if you're gonna sell something, sell it. But the way they sold it, Um, Mac McClung three-peated as dunk champ. First time that's ever happened. And I think one of the corniest arguments I've seen from people about this is he's not even an NBA player, or he's not a real quote unquote NBA player. Let's deal in facts. If he is on a 2-way contract, which means he can be called up from the G League to the main roster or whatever, for lack of a better term, he is an NBA player. So let's just cut that right there. The reason why you have guys like this in the dunk contest now is because the bigger stars who people want to see don't want to compete in the dunk contest. You know what I'm saying? So there is no incentive or anything like that for these guys outside of, maybe 50, 60 G's, 80 G's, maybe 100, whatever it is. Like, but when you're making tens of millions of dollars, why would you having to go out and do more work over your all-star break be enticing to you? You see what I'm saying? There's no incentive there for them to want to participate in this extracurricular activity outside of their regular practice schedule and games and everything else when you're supposed to have basically a week off. What is incentivizing them besides, picking up an extra check that they can probably get through endorsements or appearances or something and put in much less work for? So I understand both sides. I get it. My thing is just kind of corny to try to discredit this kid's credentials and why he should or should not even be able to participate in the dunk contest. Let focus your energy on talking to some of these guys that you want to see in the dunk contest and urging them to get into it, as opposed to discrediting this kid for being awarded the the opportunity to participate in it. And not just that, but I mean, he's at least making it fun again. And what up, Dre? Dr. Dre on 290. I got to make sure I separate them because there's at least two or three of them that be in here. We got lacrosse Dre, we got truck driving Dre. But no, it's just I just find it kind of corny for people to like try to discredit this kid and what he's doing and everything else. Um, and just you know what I'm saying? Like I mean, if you're offended or whatever, like let's not act like we mad because a white boy won it because Brent Barry won it before. Okay. And I believe there's another white boy that won it before too. I know Brent Barry won one, but you know what I'm saying? I mean, you got guys like that that have competed before or whatever. So it's like, why are we really like tripping about it? Like, let's really get over ourselves. I want to say Craig Elo competed in one like in the 80s, back in the Jordan and Dominique days, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, like it, bottom line, I just found it weird that people were trying to discredit his credentials as far as being able to compete when you can't even get regular NBA players to compete. Stefan Castle did have a great performance and he pushed McClung. It's just that when you get the crowd and everybody behind you and you get the hype train going early, like he did with his first dunk, jumping over the car and everything, and then also you're making your dunks consistently on the first try. The only dunk that he did make on the first try was the first dunk, and he made it on the second try. So it's like you tried it once or twice, and then you made it. And every other dunk, crazy dunk you did, you made it on the first try. It hits different when you can make those dunks on the first try. You're not constantly trying. So that and you know again he gets the hype train going. Um, it is more aesthetically pleasing when you see you know a 6 foot you know barely 6'2" or whatever white dude jumping than when you see like maybe a 6'5", 6'6" black dude jumping. It does look a little bit more impressive. Yeah, I believe Elo was 86, 87, Dre. I can't remember. I know it was one of those 80s years that he competed in the dunk contest because I remember he was with Phoenix um, at the time. I want to say it was Phoenix is who he was with when he did it. I don't think he was with Cleveland when he did it. I think he was with Phoenix. But anyway, um, no, like I just he knows how to get the crowd into it. He knows how to get the people going. He knows how to um, basically get everybody behind him, especially early on, and then he just carries it with him, you know, throughout the rest of the contest. So as much as you know the how high you jump, how hard you dunk, the more flair you put into it, creativity, so on and so forth. The showmanship has a lot to do with it as well. So you can't discredit him because he did bring the showmanship aspect to it. Um, as far as the game, the tournament, whatever you want to call it, is concerned, um, it was very disjointed, and it basically felt like a TNT. Like let's just you know suck ourselves off because we're no longer going to have basketball on our network. So let's just give it one big homage to us. Is basically what that felt like to me. So it took too much time in between games. There was way too much commentary and Kevin Hart and whatnot. Though some people may like that, and a lot of the times these events aren't for the hardcore fans and the fans that follow it, people that cover it, like to talk about it, podcast about it, uh, whatever and whatnot. And the players don't really like it. You know, a lot of them express as much, and they've shown their frustration like either that night or comments afterwards. But this kind of stuff is entertaining for the casuals. And it's a lot of the times how we talk about it in professional wrestling when it comes to like a WrestleMania or a big card or something like that. Uh, All-star games and things like that. These are for the casual fans. It's not for the hardcore. Uh, you know, what you'll watch a Tuesday night game between you know the Kings and the Hawks. Uh, you know, this isn't that kind of game. You know, this is for the sickos. I mean, I'm sorry, this is not for the sickos. This is for, you know, the people who want to see the fluff and the pomp and circumstance and all the showmanship and all of that kind of stuff. surrounding an All-Star game. I did not like the format. It was very disjointed. There was way too much time and too much commentary in between games, like I said. But Draymond Green's comments about the younger guys not being worthy enough to participate and whatnot. I kind of I understand where he's coming from. I get it to a certain extent. But at the same time, Oscar Robertson made a good point. Like, if you guys played harder, there would be no need for them to call in these young guys and have them come in and do what they're doing. So I get both sides. Honestly, they need to just go back to a traditional, more East and West format, or you would pick the teams again, or like Giannis suggested, have USA versus the world. I mean, something like that, just something to make it more entertaining and more back to what it was, and try to at least get some more people interested in it, man, because as of right now, it's not as interesting as it used to be. Speaking of not as interesting, I'm not as interesting when I don't have my tag team partner here.
Hey, man.
Transition, I'm a fucking professional.
It's a hell of a transition. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good. Bro, I got my hood on because it's cold here now.
Oh, well, it's snowing here.
Bruh,
It's snowing.
It's not snowing because we ain't got nothing. It's 28.
Oh, it's about that here. Nah, it's like 19 right now.
Bro, it's 28, bro. I'm like, hey, I'm like, look, let me just, and I know I'm gonna be sitting by this window, and I was like, nah, let me put on the hood. I was already gonna wear the hoodie, but I was like, nah, I'm putting the hood on because my head is pretty bald, and
I'm about to say that you ain't.
I ain't got no.
I'm still cold. Even with this, I'm still cold.
Bro, look, ain't no shame in my game. As long as I can hear through it, I'm good. And these headphones perform pretty damn well, so I'm straight. But yeah, man, I was just saying, like, how All-Star Weekend, like, the 3-point contest lost me because Brunson and Cunningham didn't get us that 50% discount on DoorDash, so I was pissed off. So I actually like turned the channel.
I think All-Star Saturday gave us what we normally get.
Yeah.
I missed a lot of what I caught the Rising Stars game Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when the last time I actually watched the celebrity game. But yeah, the Rising Stars joint Friday was cool. So I was listening on the TV before I came in, so I was hearing everything you were saying, so I could make sure I'm like caught up. I kind of agree with Draymond, right?
Mm-hmm.
But instead of them taking like the winners from Friday, I really feel like they just need to comprise the best of the first and second year players that aren't all-stars.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ones that don't make the all-star. Like if they make all-star, cool, that's where they'll be at. But like the rest, like the best of the first and second year, put them on a team and add them in as the fourth. But I just think you got to do the matchups better. I think putting the young guys against the OGs was horrible. I think it would have been I think if they would have played like Kenny's team, it might have been better. If it was like Candace versus Kenny, that would have been better. And then Chuck versus Shaq in the first round. Like that might have looked a little better. Then to just throw them against the OGs like that.
It was kind of weird to me because it
would have been worse if LeBron played.
Look, me and the kids were sitting here watching them pick the teams, and like after the first couple of selections, I'm like, oh, I see what they doing. And I was like, why? They're gonna have a young team, an old team, and then like an international or big man team, basically.
And I like that. I mean, it wasn't a bad format. I just think, like you said, it was the time between games. I mean, you kind of had to do that though, because you don't want them to go from like this game, especially if you play that second game, to go right into that third game, because the first team has rest. So I get it. I don't know. I mean, they're experimenting. They trying to figure out whatever they can do to bring it back. I do also agree. Just go back to the East West, and also
Yeah,
go back to where you can wear your team jersey. That's the other
like
one. Go back to team
yeah,
jerseys and go back to East versus West.
the thing that I like, I don't mind the All-Star game jerseys because that gives them more merch to sell. But like the time between games should be like the regular time between quarters. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you playing to 40, that's basically almost like one quarter. Not even that sometimes in All-Star games, because All-Star games they can score damn near 50 in a quarter. So
Yeah.
like shorten into like a regular commercial break between, first and second quarter or third and fourth quarter or whatever, not the halftime. They did a full halftime plus damn near between every game. And I'm like, is it over? Did I miss something? And then it's like, nah, the next game is about. I'm like, what the next game about to start? Like it just, bro, it threw me off. And I don't know. That format though, I do not like that format unless they shorten the time between the games. They have to do something between the time between games. But I
Yeah.
mean, old man and me gonna be like, get off my lawn, go back to the traditional way. I like it better, but I don't. I want to give this format a shot, but they got to do something about the time between the games, and then like the Rising Stars idea. I kind of like that more than the G League idea.
Yeah, I
Like
didn't
you
like the G
said,
League idea at all.
I like that idea better because that also puts the highlight on some younger guys. And right now, you're at a point where some of the faces of your league is getting old and they're about to retire. And that
Mm-hmm.
whole conversation is starting up with who's the next face of the league. And that would be a good way to introduce your audience to some of these younger guys that you have coming up in the game, is to have them be one of the 4 teams that participate in All-Star Weekend, some of your the rising stars. And like you said, you don't have to take the winning team and put them in. You could just take like, okay, who did we see perform the best in the game, and have the fans vote on it. Who do y'all want to see be on the roster for the tournament on Sunday out of the rising stars?
And I
Boom,
like that. Like, let them vote from both
right,
teams, and that's who goes into the. I mean, fan vote and like a coach's vote or player vote or
exactly,
whatever, but like a
exactly,
good mix of both.
exactly.
But
Just
so
something to create more engagement and attention on it, but at the same time use it to help better the game itself. And I just think something like that was a real good idea to use those guys. But like, let's figure out how can we use them and then highlight them and elevate them. And again, to bring it back to like wrestling, it's almost like when you have a younger wrestler and he's coming up, and you put him against an older wrestler, and you want him to look good or whatever. Like you put him with somebody who's gonna make him look good, who's gonna bring him up. So it's just something that I think that the league could really use, and I think that that'll work out for him to help. Just a minor tweak to make All-Star Weekend a little bit more entertaining and whatnot.
I agree.
But outside of that, man, we get basketball. There's a game on tonight because I believe the Lakers and somebody had a makeup game.
Lakers and
The
Charlotte are
Hornets.
playing. I think their game started at 7. There was some
Let
college games today. Some good
me see.
girls women's
No, they're
games.
not even starting yet. They start at 9. They
Is
about to
it not?
start in a little bit. Yeah, I
Oh yeah,
just pulled
2
it up.
minutes.
Just pulled it up. Yeah.
Well, 10 o'clock my time. Yeah.
Yeah. I see. I don't know why. I thought they were on the West Coast, but I
Nah, they
guess
playing in Charlotte.
they
I
are
wish I should
playing.
have went. Yeah, they in Charlotte. Ooh.
What is this?
Yeah, they're in. No, hold on. No, they're in LA.
Yeah, they are in LA. It's saying Crypto Arena. I was looking for because it's not saying, you got to look for like the ticket thing on sometimes on ESPN website. If you don't go to Yahoo or CBS, where they'll automatically just tell you off the rip. But yeah, they
not,
playing in LA. It's about to start in a little bit, but
no good men's game tonight. It's some good women's games tonight though. I was looking at it because I was looking on Prize Picks earlier.
mm,
But I can tell you right.
the The only good men's game that's on right now, actually, Missouri ranked 15 is up on Alabama, 51-36. Alabama's ranked fourth after their loss to Auburn. They're still ranked in the top 5, but they're down 15 with 2 minutes left in the first half to number 15 Missouri. That's the only, I think, ranked game that's on tonight.
Yeah, let me see. UConn and Seton Hall played. USC and Michigan State's on right now. Arizona State and TCU is on.
Yeah, TCU is up. 15
Looks like
going into the
those are the
fourth quarter
only
on that one.
ones. Baylor and Colorado, St. John's and Creighton. So a couple women's games, nothing too crazy.
USC is up 8 right now over Michigan State in the second.
They got better. They actually have better ones tomorrow. Notre Dame plays Miami. I love to watch Notre Dame play. They might have the best backcourt in basketball. Period.
And I can never remember the other girl's name.
Hannah
is Hannah Hidalgo. Hold up. I'm looking for it right now. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna find it.
Hold on. As I click it.
Here it goes.
No.
Looking for it, bro.
I feel like both of their names start with an H. Hold on. Olivia Miles.
That's it. Now I finally got it up. I
honestly think that is the best backcourt in basketball right now, men or women. Like I would put those two, and I know we hate to do this a lot because we talked about it. Mm-hmm. I'll put them up against a lot of these men. I ain't even gonna hold you,
bro.
Because
the thing is, man,
their defense, they're consistent. It's,
bro, between the two of them, you getting 40 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists,
if not more than that.
Bro, that's their average. That's their average game. That's just an average,
especially on assists.
Average game.
So,
right, and the thing that I love about it, man, is like Hidalgo doesn't have to be like the big playmaker. She can take on a bigger scoring role this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And
because they really play off of each other. Because if you really go back, if you look at their stat lines this season from game to game, there's been like maybe 2 or 3, to be honest. And I could be wrong, but where both of them have went off and went like super crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's really been, it's kind of the same thing with USC. If you also look at Juju and Kiki's stat line, it's the same.
Yes.
You'll have one night where, for the most part, it's always Juju, but there are certain nights, because I've missed on prize picks and it's made me mad, where Juju kind of have a night, like 12 to 15, which for her is kind of for most, that's a good night, but for her is in. Right. And Kiki will be the one to go off at 25, 30.
Right.
Like they have those nights where they switch off, and Hannah and Olivia are the same way. You're gonna have some nights where they both go crazy, and then you're gonna have those nights where one of them's gonna go and then the other one doesn't, and they balance each other out just right. So,
but you can see, like, just from the year to year, when I look at last year, where Hannah averaged 25 a game. Well, no, this year she's averaging 25. Last year she averaged 23. Last year she averaged 5.5 assists. This year she's only averaging 4. So her scoring went up and her assists went down a little bit because she got Olivia Miles there now to help her out as far as the playmaking is concerned. So she doesn't have to do as much. So she can dedicate, she can focus her game somewhere else. Because when you got another playmaker there, or like with Juju and Kiki at USC, like when you got another girl that can defend and rebound there, like you don't have to focus in on this one aspect of the game as much or spread yourself too thin because you have help that you can trust. So it's stuff like that like, for example, when the Lakers made the Luka trade, I was like, and we talked about how I knew this nigga was gonna say something. I was like, I'm gonna make a face or something, but like, no, it's like LeBron doesn't have to carry that playmaking burden as much because he's got Luka there. So now he can focus in on defense, rebounding, and other stuff, scoring the ball or whatever. He can focus on other areas. Because now you have that guy who can score, who can play make, who can also rebound or whatever. You can't defend worth of shit. But I mean, goddamn, boy, do everything else good. But I'm just saying, like that allows him to focus on other things. And so when you see a good player and a solid player who's a good teammate who can like, okay, I know how to do X, Y, and Z. And I know that I trust this person. So I know that if I'm here and okay, tonight my shot not falling, I'm gonna be a playmaker. Okay, cool. I can do that tonight because I trust this guy to score the ball. Or you know what? I'm on fire tonight. Okay, cool. I can trust this guy to be a distributor playmaker for everybody else or whatever. Like it just feels good as a player to have somebody that you can actually feed off and play off of. And you can tell when star players get along and they're actually playing cohesively and they're feeding off each other because they'll defer to each other in all kinds of situations. And I really see that with those girls and those front courts and those back courts at USC and Notre Dame. I think you're muted. I can't hear you.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. There you go.
I was yelling at Jackson per usual. But yeah, it's a good thing when even in football, when you have like that guard that pulls and blocks with you, so that way on your backside they got you. Same thing with tackles on the outside. Or having a good run game, so like that play action works for your to get your receivers open. Basketball is the same. You got to have that good 1-2 to help you out, whether it's a guard, forward, guard, center, forward, center. Like you have to, it works better when you have that second person. So I'm excited, man. As we got like 2 more weeks until March.
Yeah,
next week
I like about a week and a half.
Yeah, like next week or the week after, we start going into conference tournaments and then March Madness.
Yeah, man. It's going to be
crazy. I can't wait. I can't wait to see my bracket get fucked up. Every year.
Man, bro, I remember last year, I want to say it was
first day.
It was the first day.
Everybody brackets were fucked up. I don't know too many that won't.
Bro, my coworker had I think we both did like 2 apiece. And we like messed around in one and then took one serious, kind of. Bro, in his serious one, he was like, hey man, I don't know how much of your bracket you got left. I was like, bro, I ain't got nothing. I was like, I think it was shot to hell.
I might have had like 1 or 2. I think after that first round, I might have had 3 or 4 teams left after the first round that were still good going through. Because I think I had Duke, Houston. I'm trying to remember last year. I had Duke, Houston, and somebody else that kept pushing through and made it.
That's who was scoring for me, I believe, also. But the crazy thing about it was, like, our scores in just our little group that we had were so low. Like, bro, I'm talking about the winner was decided before the championship game. That's how bad it was. Like, it was that bad. It was that bad. Like, it was just like, all right, you won, bro. Like, it's over with. Like, and we still got tournament games left. I think it was like the whole Final Four or whatever. And I think our winner was already decided or something. But like,
men and women.
Yeah. Oh, bro. I think my women's bracket last year, the last couple
did better than. I think it's been.
Yes.
It did way better than the men's.
Yes.
Like, it was a little. predictable in a sense.
Yes.
This year, I think this year is going to be the most fun because, to be honest, it's not like it's been the last couple of years where you were like, all right, we know it was going to be LSU, South Carolina, UConn, Iowa, and maybe USC could shock everybody last year.
Right.
But we pretty much knew what that 4 was set as. This year, it's kind of up in the air. Like, what to get to that final 4, it's really going to be like,
bruh.
I could say maybe it's to me, it's up in the air. Like, you really can't say who's going to win the championship this year. And I like that.
Yes. I put it to you like this. After UConn cracked the code and beat South Carolina like that in South Carolina,
and
you saw that chink to their armor, now it's just like, well, wait a minute. Superman bleeds. Kind of thing.
And they really don't have that great of a team this year. Like,
they really don't. Like, compared to years in the past, you're right. They really don't have that. Like,
but I also think
team.
They also have about I can't even think of the number. They have quite a few juniors though that they're very much, when the tournament comes around, they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be the sleeper. It is crazy to say that for South Carolina, but they're the sleeper team once tournament time comes around because they have the veterans in the sense that have been there and know how to compose and handle themselves. They just don't got the bigs this year. That's the part. They've had my girl the last couple years, so she's in the WNBA now. So like it looked different when you ain't got that big down low like that. Right. I think UConn is probably USC, UConn, USC. I think Iowa is a team to watch out for.
Hey man, the way I saw Texas play defense on LSU the other day, like
Texas
I have a lot more respect for Texas.
I like Texas a lot, not just because of that one coach, because she,
bruh, I've been following her for like it's a couple years now on Instagram. Like before she even got the
four for me.
Yeah,
USC and UCLA. UCLA has a nice little team this year too. I've been paying, like we always say.
They finally lost this past week.
They did.
I think
it was to Who was it? It was USC. I think it was USC beat them.
Yeah. They sure did.
Yeah.
Yep, 71-60. Yeah, I had to look it up.
USC is really that team to pay attention to. Like, that's why I told you. I really think it's up in the air this year. I can't say who's gonna win. I like Iowa a lot. TCU is actually, so remember we said this about Van Lith, right? She was at Louisville and she turned up.
Yep.
She went to LSU and she was a big fish in the ocean. I ain't gonna say small pond. She was a fish, a pretty big fish in a sense, in an ocean, and she was surrounded by other big fish, and she kind of like shrunk around the other big fish.
Yes.
Now she goes to to TCU, and she's back in that mode she was with Louisville, where it's like to me, it's hard because oh, go ahead.
Another thing I see, remember when she went to LSU and they asked her to play a different role than what she was used to playing?
They wanted her to take steps back because of, which I think she should have. It's just her and Kim didn't mesh well at all. I think had she stayed this season, it would have looked better with her and Flage. I really do. So with that team they have, I think it would have definitely looked better. No Angel. That's the biggest part. Angel's just, whether she's the best on the floor or not, she's,
but you know what else?
So much.
I see what's her name? Anissa Morrow is still there too, the other
Mhm.
forward that they had last year. So it's like they still have that post presence and whatnot. But it's like, now it's more how should I put it? It's not as like you don't have like you can't depend on Angel, to be there
Mm.
and to be that consistent presence because and now Anissa has to take on more of a role, even though she's listed as a guard. I mean, she's a double machine,
Yeah.
So you got like her and um Flauget and the other last Terapoa. And those girls are kind of leading the way because they've been there for a while. They've been there. They've been through the wars. They know what this is like. They've been
Hey,
at the forefront of
Pow
going,
Pow.
going through these teams.
Pow Pow is one of my favorite guards right now too. She's another one. I fuck with her
Oh, for
really
for
heavy.
uh for Carolina,
South Carolina.
North Carolina.
Yeah,
Yes,
I fuck with Pow
yes,
Pow heavy. I like her
bro. I
game.
love her. Yes, I love.
I
She
like
she does
Higgins. You're
not
right,
back
Drake.
down no matter what. No
I
matter
definitely I've
what.
been paying attention to Higginbottom a lot, mostly because of her last name. So I was like, to have a last name like that, and then everybody's like talking about you. I gotta pay attention, and I like
Yeah.
her game. I like her
And
game a lot.
Dre was he was the first. I'll give him props on it. Hold up.
He was.
Hit the applause button because he was telling us about Kiki Rice at UCLA. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, bro, I love how she easily bounces back and forth between scorer or playmaker. You can tell that playmaker is in her system. Like that's just what she is naturally, but she can score. And she's
Uh-huh.
not one of those guards, those lead guards that just I'm gonna take over and I'm gonna do everything. It's like, no, I can be the assist person, I can be the setup person. I feel more comfortable doing that. But if I have to, I'll go ahead and take over. I gotta watch some more of Higginbottom because I've been watching more SEC men's basketball this year, or just kind of loosely paying attention to them. And right now, I've been keeping track consistently all year. The SEC has had like at least 7 or 8 teams in the top 25. Right now, they have 9. So they're doing the basketball what they used to do the football. They just totally taken over basketball, and then for them to have the first 1-versus-2 matchup in conference history this past week with Auburn versus Alabama. And you
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it like you have 2 traditional football quote unquote schools that are 1 and 2 in NCAA basketball right now. Like it was just insane. Like if this was on the football field, I wouldn't even pay I wouldn't pay no mind to it 1-versus-2. But when it's 1-versus-2 in basketball, Auburn and Alabama, the
Yeah,
Iron
because
Bowl,
it's so normal in football for
right?
that to happen. Even though you pay attention to it, because whoever loses, especially if it's early in the season, is whoever loses, are they going to be there at the end of the season? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's the SEC and the SEC is so stacked. So, but in basketball, it's rarely that it happens because for especially in the SEC, when it comes to men's or women's basketball, not even say women's, mostly in men's is rare because usually it's an ACC or well, isn't that rare? Because usually Kansas is Big 12, Kentucky's always there. Lately, Bama,
Oh, yes.
Kentucky and Bama
It's
are kind of
hold on, I got the list pulled up right here. My bad. All right, we got Auburn 1, Florida 2, Bama 4, Tennessee 6, Texas A&M 7. Then I think we get down to Missouri at 15, Kentucky at 17, Mississippi State at 21, and Ole Miss at 24.
So I'm looking at the top 25 right now. Who's your just looking at the men's real quick.
Okay.
Pre-tournament, before we even get into the conference stuff, pick your early winner.
Ooh. Damn.
I'll tell you, I'm riding with Duke. I'm always riding with Duke.
I
Biased,
figured
unbiased.
that's where you was gonna go, and I was like, I didn't want to pick them because I was like, I figured Keyz was gonna pick them.
I mean, no. If that's what you think, I think.
Bro, no. I was looking at everybody else but them because I'm like,
outside of them, I think
I'm gonna go with
I like
Auburn. I
Auburn.
know that's crazy.
Yeah, I was about to say. I was gonna say
but
outside of them, I like. I haven't really paid attention to Florida.
because
Florida being 23-3 is.
I want to pick. I want to look at some of those other teams, and like the thing that makes me like Kelvin Sampson, what he doing at U of H. Like they started off the season 3-2, and have been 21-2 since. Like they just went crazy after they had that rocky start, and everybody thought that they had fallen off finally. But you always got like a Tom Izzo team, Michigan State at number 14. St. John's has been one of the surprises this year under Rick Pitino, like balling out. Tennessee has been, a top team the last few years under Rick Barnes. So I mean, you got a bunch of different programs out there that's like you wouldn't really think that's a traditional like power, or that you would even think that would be like, at the top of the standings or whatever. But I mean, man, that Auburn team, with hold up, let me make sure I get his name right, because I know I'm gonna pronounce that kid's name wrong. I don't think it looks like it's Johnny, but I think it's Jonay or something. I just call him Johnny Broom. But he leading the team in points, rebounds, and assists per game, and blocks. And he is 6'10" guy, but I didn't even realize he was 6'10". I thought he was like 6'7", 6'8" maybe, but he's 6'10". But I just like the way he does whatever his team needs, and he's just that kind of player, that kind of leader, and he plays with a lot of passion. And I love when I see players play with passion; they wear their heart on their sleeve. I love that. But I just think that team is really complete. They have that inside presence with him on offense and defense. They got decent guard play. And to me, in the tournament, most of the time historically it's been about guards. If you got good wings or guards, at least one or two really good ones, it can carry you through that 6-game win streak to a national title. But the Auburn team is pretty complete top to bottom. And so it's pretty hard for me to pick against them. But if I was going to pick like somebody outside of them, and I know it may sound homerous, but I'm going to go with Kelvin Sampson and U of H just because of the way I know that team can play defense. And defense travels no matter where you go, home, away, neutral site, north, south, east, west, time zones, whatever. People play defense. And when you can play good defense like that UH team can, and they do not give up 70, 80 points in the game. Rarely do they give up more than that. And so if I had to pick a dark horse, it would a quote unquote dark horse, it would be UH.
Okay. So, and we talked about this a little while ago. The women's side, I can't pick anybody. I'm looking at it right now.
Way harder than the men's side.
That top 14,
bro,
maybe even deeper, because the Tennessee women's team is fire. And that's their 15. There's even a couple teams that's unranked in the top 25 that's like that. Like I said, I love that Iowa State team a lot.
Hold up,
and they're not even
coming up there.
Iowa State's not even ranked.
Larkins from at first I'm thinking he was like, is he talking about South San Diego? But no, he was talking about the one in South Dakota State.
I haven't paid attention to them.
She a 5'9" guard, right? Averaging 24 a game, but she averaged 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Bruh, like I love when a guard rebounds. I don't care, men, women, I don't give a damn who you are.
Oh, for sure.
Guards rebound, I love it. I love it.
For sure.
Because it's somebody that I played. They would have me playing point and stuff, and it was this thing that we did because I would get out the car and I was the tallest one or one of the tallest ones on the team and the youngest. And it was just like, okay, who's the tall, lanky kid or whatever? He looked like, and I would on purpose like shoot with my left hand and stuff. And then like we would start a game, and then they'd be like, what is he gonna do? He can't shoot, he looks goofy. Then like, wait a minute, he's handling the ball. What the fuck is going on? Like, wait, he can really play. Like, wait a minute, he's the tallest person on their team, and he's the point guard. Like, it would throw people off. And I used to love doing that because it was just like, to me, I used to just love fucking with people like that and just throwing people off, hustling them really. But like it was fun, and we made a little money pissing people off and stuff. But that's just what we like to do back then. but I love when guards help their bigs rebound and help defense and whatnot. Because yeah, if I got Johnny Broom back there and he's averaging damn near 3 blocks a game, but as a guard, my job is to not even have my big man have to leave his man and help defense on somebody. You know what I'm saying? So it all goes together. But when you have guards that help your bigs, not only with defense, rebounding and stuff like that, I love that kind of stuff. So shout out to her. Let's see. Hot take: women's sports, basketball, lacrosse specifically is on the rise and has been more excited than men's this year and last year. We've been saying that the last 2 years.
Actually, like the last.
It's really the last 3, but I know specifically
maybe 4.
Specifically the last 2 years, we have said that on this podcast.
I'm about to say, as long as we've been doing this podcast in the spaces, like
we've been talking
2 to 3.
We've been talking about it, for sure.
It's just women's sports in general, like you said, women's track, gymnastics.
Bruh.
I'm looking at basketball, lacrosse, tennis. You pay attention a lot more to the women right now when it comes to sports, just because they're, and maybe it's the media too, because if you realize there's so many different Nike commercials, Adidas, like just different brands that are focusing more on their women athletes right now and putting them in the forefront.
And you know, honestly, bro, I think like their gymnastics has always been more exciting to me because the women are smaller and they can do cooler shit.
It just looks better.
Exactly. It just looks way better. It's just like with men's basketball, professional in college or professional whatever. Most people say, "Oh, men's basketball is better." No, women's basketball more or less looks like pickup games that we would play. Because not everybody, when you go to the local gym, even when you get a good run in, everybody ain't dunking. Everybody ain't 7 foot tall or 6'9", 6'10".
And I say that, man, like as much as I hate the Spurs, and I always have, and they're finally getting into a little more exciting basketball because they're a lot younger now than they've ever been.
And a lot more athletic.
Especially with Wemby, and then they made that trade for
De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, De'Aaron Fox. So like
they kept a lot of their young talent.
And they're definitely about to be like a up and down the floor getting it now. I still like it in women's basketball. I don't need dunking. I don't need like to, you know what I mean? Like a good fundamental basketball game from women can be a lot more exciting than what you get in the men's game a lot of times, college and the NBA. So
big time.
Like I don't think I hate when you have these conversations and people are like, well, they need to lower the rim and start dunking, and then I'll start watching. Like, then don't watch, because this ain't for you, because that ain't what they do. Like, I mean, there are a lot of athletically gifted women now that are dunking.
Yeah. And the thing is, man, if you really pay attention to the women's game, like they're more fundamentally sound than the men's game. And that's what always drew me to like women's basketball and stuff.
Hey.
Hi.
Yes.
Say hi.
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 Say what's
Hello.
up.
What's up?
What's up? How you doing?
He said, how are you?
Who are you?
No. Say good.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
Say, all right. Say night night.
Night.
Night night.
Go to bed. I'll be in there in a little while. Bye.
Hey. Boy, this has been a fucked up week, but that just made my whole fucking week. That just made my whole fucking week right there. I'm good now. I don't care what can happen. But yeah, man, like, bruh, like it's just, I don't know, man. I feel like a lot of the times if you just pay attention to the women's game, they're more fundamentally sound. And like I was saying, that's what really attracted me to like really watching women's basketball, is because they're so fundamentally sound. It's because like when they execute a pick and roll or a pick and pop, like it's almost flawless in some cases, especially when you have the right, guys running it, or I'm sorry, ladies running it. But like when I see like just switches on defense and stuff like that, like the way they communicate and stuff, like they really like when you see a really good women's team and they're really gifted, like those girls can really ball and it's really crisp and their execution is top notch. And that's what I like the most. That's what I like the most. But I mean, it is what it is, man. Like Dre was saying, who was it? The Charlotte North and the Boston Guard, the first ever women's lacrosse league champions. And then the women's winner Notre Dame, UCLA, and the men's winner was Virginia in lacrosse. So shout out to them because Dre was out there covering the lacrosse championships and stuff.
He was.
Hold up, let me make sure I pull it up to make sure I get it right because I know I'll screw it up and mess it up and get it wrong. But it's dang it, where is it? Oh, here it goes. Here we go. It is at _ Sir Laxalot. You know what? Let me just put it on the screen. Why am I even fighting with this? I don't even know why I be trying to fight with myself about this, and I can just put it up right here on the screen and just show it to everybody. But it's at _ Sir Laxalot. Let me share this tab. Boom, and then do this. Bam. So yeah, it's at _ Sir Laxalot. That is Dre's actual Twitter page. And let me see. I'm trying to find the podcast page, but
my bad, guys. I am totally focused right now, but I seen some on Twitter. No. I seen some on Twitter, and I immediately got on the phone to find it. Somebody posted that they found an NBA on NBC like vintage hat, and it made me. And I know my lighting is bright as hell, so hold on. No, it's still too bright. Can't see it.
DM it to me, and I'm gonna pull it back up.
Hold on, I'm about to send it to you right now. I found the hat though.
Yeah, send it to me, and I'm gonna pull it back up. Oh, I see it right here. I see it. I got it.
And I actually just found it. I'm gonna text you the link too. I found it on Amazon for $9.99.
Here it goes. Got it. All right. Yeah, there it goes.
That shit cool.
Bruh.
And I literally just found it on as I send you that link.
Oh my gosh. Bruh.
I be on it, bro. When I find stuff, let me get that.
Bruh. That is a nice hat.
I've been trying to find more vintage like merch from like old stuff like NBA on NBC.
Yes.
What else? Just older stuff. Like a lot of the older NASCAR looking stuff I've been finding. I'm about to just start making my own stuff for real, or get my own stuff made instead of buying stuff. Because I be finding some of the dopest pictures and I'll save them.
Yeah.
I need to do like Sloan said, I just need to get a press so I can do a lot of this myself. Cause I be finding hella pictures online and I be like, I want that on a shirt. I want that on a sweatshirt or a hoodie.
Mm-hmm.
So I just need to go buy it myself and then just do everything and just save a lot of money. Cause
bro, it's like I'll never forget one of my little cousins had started his, and two of them do it now, and like they done got into all kinds of apparel and stuff. Like they start doing jeans and I think Jared from Rock Fresh, Jared got he does like the varsity jackets and stuff, hockey jerseys. One time at his alma mater down there in Dillard, HBCU, shout out to them. He had basketball jerseys and stuff for their homecoming and everything, football jerseys and stuff like
Mm.
t-shirts, sweat. Like this hoodie right here. I bought this hoodie from him. You know what I'm saying? This is like my favorite hoodie to pod in because it's white and it contrasts my black ass beard. So I can't wear my black hoodie because my beard will blend in. So I like to wear this white hoodie that he got me. But it's like stuff like that, man. Like, and I know I talked to Jamal with Winter Circle, and he got some t-shirts for me for some shoes and stuff that I got to get from him. But it's like, bro, like when you find somebody that could do stuff like that, and they make good quality materials because they order the right kind of t-shirts and different things like that, that's undefeated, bro. That is undefeated.
Also, let me go back up a little. Hey, Dre, Trucker Dre, appreciate that. That's also EAELES. It's right there. You can spell it out a little better. It's okay. You're a Dallas fan. I expect that from you guys. I expect you guys not to know how to spell, so it's okay.
Man. Hey,
like
man.
Super Bowl, y'all don't know how to spell that.
Oh,
but I appreciate it, bro.
Shots fired.
I went on last week, so I could do my whole like. But I'm here this week, and you see what I'm wearing. Actual mayor. Hey, bro, she's a clown. Like a clown. And she almost did it at the parade. That's what made it funny.
Bruh. I was like, wait a minute. Bruh, that I was dying. And they isolated it and somebody else has slowed it down. And I was just like, come on, man. Like, let her make it.
She pissed me off with that, man.
Bro, that shit was so fucking funny. Like, I was just like, come on, dog. Like really? Like, this is what we doing right now?
Listen, I'm already excited for the off season. I'm like, all right, I need to know where Myles Garrett's going. Because that's one of the big pieces. I want to see who actually can pull the trigger to get him.
Yeah, that's gonna be one of those things that's like
first game on Friday, Dre. I'm hip. Trust me. My boy Jazz looking good. Judges, hey bro, I'm excited. I actually like this Yankees team. I think when it comes to baseball, I like simplicity, man. I don't think you need hella star players on your team. And I think sometimes with the Yankees, they do too much. And even though we made it to the World Series last year, I just think we just did too much. So I like what we got going forward for this season. And I think we're going to get back, honestly. And I think we're going to get back and win it. Just my early baseball take, but I'm excited. I'm always excited for baseball season. NASCAR just started this weekend. Daytona 500 was this weekend.
Bro,
24.
What was the deal with the win? Like, it was like, did it get delayed or something? I know it was something, or like, he won back-to-back years or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. It was the race was it got delayed at first because of the rain.
Okay, that's what it was then.
Then it was the restart and the ending to the race. It's the Daytona 500. If there is a drama at the end, it's not Daytona. So also it was the 24th anniversary of Dale Earnhardt's passing from Daytona 500 from the Daytona race. So that was really big this year. I watched Junior's podcast a lot. And something really dope actually ended up happening. There was a guy who owned a car from Senior. And in his will, it was an older gentleman. In his will, when he passed, he wanted that car to go back to Junior.
What?
And he recently passed away. And the car ended up coming back to Junior this week. Like literally, he got it this week of Daytona, Well, right after Daytona, I think they said it was either before or after, but either way, he just got it. And just so happens, so usually whenever if they sell their car from like certain races, like if somebody buys the car, they always take the hood off the car, so they keep something from. Well, that's usually what Senior did. He kept all the hoods from any of his cars that he sold. Just so happens that Junior's uncle still had that hood that went to that particular car. And Junior actually had the hood because his uncle was getting older and was going through his garage and all that and was selling a lot of stuff and getting rid of stuff. So Junior said he went over there, he took the hood, and then at the same time, he ends up getting the car. So he has the hood and the car, and he put the hood back so the car is whole down. I'm gonna send it to you. It was like you can tell the emotion when he was telling the story.
Yeah,
that's what got me into NASCAR. I was a huge Senior fan. Yeah, and then when Junior started racing, like racing, I was like, yeah. And I had been a fan of Junior ever since then. And then after he was done, I really wasn't a fan of anybody until Bubba came. I was like, all right, we got somebody of color like racing now. So, and I'm pretty much a fan of the entire Jordan team now. Him, Denny, and Tyler Reddick. So Tyler, I got to meet Tyler when they were in Richmond over the last summer. Getting close to Denny was, I think the closest I got to Denny was Denny walking by me, and then him and Bubba's pit areas are next to each other. So I think Denny had walked so quick past me. That was like the closest I got to him. And you can't get next to Bubba at all. You just got to take a picture. You got to catch him. Because it's not even that he's moving. He's not and he said this in interviews before. He's not a people person for real. Like he's one of those like celebrities in a sense that's like, I'll sign autographs. He does a lot for kids, but just when it comes to fans in general, he'll do little stuff, but he's really not a huge people person. So
no, and I get that though, because there's just some people that's like, they just not real people, and just because they're in the public spotlight don't mean that they have to become, a people person or anything like that. And so it's just like, you just got to respect their space. And I'll never forget, man, one of the things Michael Jordan would always talk about, they asked him, they was like, what would you want to do, or ideal day or whatever? He was like, I just want to be normal and like take my kids to Disney World and go eat at Waffle House and, just do normal stuff that normal people can do. He was like, I can never do that, and I'll never be able to experience that because of
ever. And that's why I'm like, I always say, I want to be rich. I don't want to be famous. Because I still want to be able to do that little stuff with my kids. Like so, but Dre, Daytona is definitely on my bucket list. I wanted to go this year, but it came up way too quick. Next year, I'm at Daytona next year. Like my plan for this year anyway, me and Breeze just talked about this the other day. Like we're trying to coordinate our schedules for like at least like 4 or 5 races outside of what we normally go to, which is really just Richmond and Martinsville. I think I'm going to Martinsville by myself this year because conflict of schedule for him. Like his March is super full, so I'm gonna do Martinsville by myself. But then we're doing, I think we're doing Darlington, which is like 2 weeks before Mania. The one race we really wanted to go to, we were hyped. And then we looked at the date and we are like, yo, that's Mania weekend. Fuck. So, I'm definitely trying to do more races this season and be more involved.
Yeah, when you said that, his schedule crazy in March, and I know he coaches football and stuff like that too. Like it made me think like, oh, let me text my partner, because I knew like is in between that season and stuff, and I know he trying to get something else going, but damn, I gotta I think I had put him in touch with somebody else because he's trying to make that transition. He really wants to get into the coaching ranks in the NFL because like he's doing the college thing. And it's like, whatever. But I definitely need to get him on. But yeah, man, like those NASCAR events, like I thought about it and I was like, do I really want to go to one? And like knowing how I am about crowds and noise. And I'm like, probably not because I know how I am about crowds and noise, but I just still want to at least maybe experience it at least once just to like take it in, and just the scene and just, you know what I'm saying? Everything about it, because everybody that goes, they have such a good time and they talk about the experience and everything. And I'm like, okay, maybe just once I'll just do something. But like I know this one kid used to work at the radio station with Trey. Trey is like a NASCAR savant. I kid you not. You can name a year and a race, and he can probably tell you who is first, second, and third in any given year, any given race in NASCAR. He is like NASCAR Rain Man, like dead ass, bro. I swear it is crazy. I promise you. Look up 3 random races in 3 random years, and I guarantee you, especially if it's up in the 90s, 2000s, he gonna do that shit. He gonna know, and I mean off the top of his head, like no Googles or nothing. I watched the We Beat the Dream Team on Max earlier. I have to watch that documentary because the stories over the years that have come out about that practice and those practices and that scrimmage. Like I gotta watch it just to hear it from those guys' perspective, because most of the stuff we heard is from like the Dream Team perspective or whatever, or like if it was part of The Last Dance or something like that. Like you heard it from like the one side, but you didn't hear the other side of things. And this one, it seems like they focused on the college kids at that time, their perspective on those practicing and that scrimmage and whatnot. So I'm really interested to see what that's like. Matter of fact, let me see. Do we still have access to Max? Let's see. About to check this right now on the Roku TV. Moment of truth, ladies and gentlemen. Am I going to be able to watch this on Roku, or am I going to have to find it on the Fire Stick? Let's see. Ah, damn it. Find it on the Fire Stick.
Hey, Dre, let me tell you something. That affect a lot of times. Like, so in NASCAR, like being at the race and watching it, you see it with a lot of different like celebrities or athletes in general. Like you catch them out, or if they're at like an event or a sporting event walking around, they usually have that huge crowd around them, depending on who it is. With NASCAR, it's definitely the same. Because watching just like Denny Hamlin, for example, again, watching him walk from the pit stall and going back to the back area, and it's like as he's walking, it's just the crowd is growing as he walks to the back until you get to that point that nobody can go past. Bubba was the same way. Richard Petty walked past us, but he walked past us so quick. And by the time I noticed who it was, I really had like a whole fan moment. I was like, I turned to Breeze and I was like, I said, hey bro, I was loud as shit too. I was like, hey bro, is that the king? He said, where? I said, right there. He's like, bro, that's not him. And then he ends up doing like the beginning of the race. And I was like, I told you that was the king the whole time. Bro, I was so mad because Richard Petty also is one of them. He is one of the OGs of NASCAR, like one of the greats. So, but yeah, it was the same. It's that I saw that video and the pictures that you put up of Charlotte North, and I was like, yo, them kids was like on her. But it's beautiful that she took that time to like sign autographs and make sure. I like that about athletes in general, or just celebrities, that they take time for their fans. Like, I just hate the fans that, and we see it in wrestling a lot, the ones that want them to sign, that stop them and have them sign at like 100 things so they can sell it online. Like, those are the ones I hate. Like, genuine fans that want autographs for personal and not for personal gain, of course. So.
Exactly. Bro, and that's the worst part, man. Is when you get people like that, and all they want to do is just mob these people, and you infringing on their personal space and time and stuff like that for your bullshit. And like that's just not what it is. She had to have her own security detail that had to move around the building. Well, because if you look at Dre's content, the pictures and videos that he posted, where they hold the lacrosse championships at, that it's a smaller arena. It's not like some big, huge, 20,000 seat place where it's this big, huge place and you got all this space and stuff. Like it's pretty tight in there. I mean, I'm not saying like it's super small, but it's a decent size, but you don't have a whole lot of room and stuff between the sidelines and the stands and whatnot. There's not like this gap of space or like this, huge, barricades and different things like that. Like it's pretty all, right there. It's a more intimate, almost like a college type of setting. And, if she don't have that kind of security around her, she's going to get mobbed. So it's just, man, it's good to see like they actually protecting these people and these athletes and stuff like that, because people do stupid shit and they get crazy, and you just don't know like how crazy people are gonna get. And I think a lot of that shit changed back when Monica Seles got attacked on the tennis court back in like '94. Between that and then, like 5-6 years or whatever later, when you had the Malice in the Palace and all of that, like I think a lot of that, and of course 9/11, those sequence of events between the mid to late '90s and the early 2000s, that really heightened and tightened security a lot. And so it's good to see like they're still taking it serious all these years later. Trey is Dustin Hoffman from Dream, man. Yeah, see, even Drake know, like he's seen this dude in action, bro. This shit is wild. The way he can recall NASCAR shit is crazy. But yeah, man, like I really got to get into that documentary though. I gotta find a way.
Yeah, I might watch that when we're done, because I ain't doing too much else tonight. I'm kind of up, so no work tonight because of the snow. That's also why you see me.
Look, and they told me, like, we got that email shit about an hour, 30 minutes, an hour before we left work. It was like, hey, y'all can work from home tomorrow, since it's gonna be cold. Cool. Say less.
Man. So I know you when I look at the rundown, before I got here, did you touch on NFL? It looks like that was like kind of the last.
Nope.
Good, because it just so happens as I was scrolling, and I seen it earlier, and I was like watching different videos and stuff earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Cam and Shador working out together, which they have been doing. I also want to premise that it's not new that they're doing this, because they're actually really good friends. They did it prior in the off season last year too, before camps and stuff started.
Yeah, I know it was it may have been the last 2 seasons, but I know it was definitely at least last season.
At least last season. I'm pretty sure before the beginning of this season that just ended, at the beginning of it, before camps and like all that started, they definitely were working together in Miami. Right now they're in Vegas working out, pre-draft stuff. Man, I'm excited, man. They're definitely going 1-2 as far as quarterback. Tennessee and Cleveland are picking 1 and 2 right now. I think both teams are very solid at quarter. Not solid. Both teams have a quarterback, whether they're sold on quarterback or not. I do like Will Levis, but I feel like if you're the Titans, unless you're going to go running back or O-line or something like that, or even wide receiver, I feel like you got to go ahead and take one of these 2 quarterbacks. Cleveland, the same. Even if you got Deshaun, you got to bring one of those 2 in and even if they're going to sit for a season, Deshaun's not from a football standpoint, Deshaun's not a bad person to learn from. Because I still think that's my opinion. What he's looked like in Cleveland is not what we've known of Deshaun. And you live in Houston, you've watched him. I personally think that what he was in Houston, he's a shell of that now that he's been in Cleveland. And we've talked about this. I think mentally, all the stuff that, Nasty Man, as I know that's what you're about to call him, is going through mentally, it takes a toll on you on the field. I mean, he tries to act like it doesn't, but it really does. It mentally affects you. Unless you're Kobe Bryant. Kobe is probably one of the only people I've ever seen that the man was fighting a whole case. It was coming. Yep. He was going from Colorado back to LA, back to Colorado, back to LA, and was dropping 40, 45, 50 a game, like on a tear, because he was that focused. Like, he's literally the only one. Any and everybody else is going to mentally affect you. So, but I do agree for Tennessee and Cleveland, they're probably going 1-2 as far as quarterbacks, and that's probably where they're going. A lot of scouts are now they're a little higher on Shador. Me personally, I think if I'm Tennessee, I take Cam, and if I'm Cleveland, I take Shador. But there's another factor that plays in on the Shador side of things that everybody keeps forgetting about, and that's his daddy. And if Dion don't like the situation, I really think it's going to be like a Archie, Eli type of thing where they go maneuver to where they really want to be at.
And that's my thing. Like I've heard things as far as like people saying they wouldn't be surprised if Shador slid all the way to the Raiders at 6. Simply because they don't want to deal with the whole hoopla and the circus or whatever.
And I think that's helping him. I like that Raider situation for him. I want that jersey. Hey, listen, wherever Shador and Cam go outside of the Giants, I'm gonna cop the jersey. I think anybody but the Giants and Dallas, but I don't see neither one of them going to Dallas. So, and the same thing with I'm drawing blanks today. What's his name? Hunter. Same thing. Depending on where he go, I'm definitely copping that jersey too, just to have it. But
yeah, see, I think that like the Titans are probably going to draft Cam Ward number 1. If they don't, they'll draft Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
What they do at number 1 will speak volumes to what people think of this quarterback draft. What Cleveland does at 2 is really going to be interesting because Myles Garrett has made a trade request, and they do need a quarterback because Watson re-injured his same Achilles already. So it's like, do you keep kicking the can?
So the good thing about them, I think the good thing about Cleveland with this whole Myles Garrett thing is they're gonna end up with multiple. They could end up with multiple first round picks because they're not gonna give up anything because they're getting rid of Myles in a sense. So they're very smart not to make any moves until the closer they get to the draft or even on draft night. But definitely Cleveland can end up with multiple first round picks. It just depends on who's going to make that move. And
if you
how
think
he's been
about
on the phone.
If you think about it, if they end up getting like 2 firsts, 2 seconds or whatever, because I think that's what Khalil Mack went for the last time we saw somewhat in their prime edge rusher at the top of their game get traded. If they end up with 2 firsts, 2 seconds, you get a first and a second, let's just say this year, and a first and a second next year. That sets you up differently for what you can do as far as trading up and looking for a quarterback. Because if a team doesn't feel like Cam or Shador is worth it this year, and they see somebody, maybe in next year's draft or the year after or whatever, when you have those draft picks, like especially at the back end of the first round, you can have a team like let's say
Because looking at this,
Jets, let's just say the Jets, for example, right? Or Panthers, maybe, somebody like that that's in the top 10 this year, but they feel like they're a few players away next year from being, what they want to be. I'll give you next year's first for that 27th overall pick this year. Now, you already got your first and your second next year from your own pick and whoever else you made this trade with. But then you flip that late round pick this year to another first next year. Now you got 3 firsts. Now you
looking
have
at the mock draft, I like what I'm seeing on this ESPN mock draft though, because they got Cam going 1 to Tennessee. They got Abdul Carter going 2 now to the Browns, because if you're losing Myles Garrett, you got to replace him.
Exactly.
You can, like you said, you technically have Deshaun and what's the guy that was behind him? Because Jameis is a free agent. You can always,
but I don't know
you
if
could
they
bring Jameis.
You can bring Jameis back.
Right? You could bring Jameis back, and you're good at least for another year to get a good first round again. Sorry, Jameis. But I like that. And then they got Shador going 3 to the Giants. Boo. Which that's kind of where he wants to be anyway, to be honest. He's been really high about New York or the Raiders. They got Travis going 4 to the Patriots, which that's pretty much where everybody has him going. He's either going there or he's going to go Jaguars at 5, but I don't see him going past 5. They got Will Johnson from Michigan, the cornerback, going to the Raiders. The offensive tackle, Will Campbell from LSU, going to the Jets, which I think is smart for them because they definitely need to shore up that O-line. The Panthers are iffy because they got them taking McMillan from Arizona, wide receiver. They got Michael Williams, the edge from Georgia, going to the Saints. And then at number 10, they got the Bears taking an O tackle, Kelvin Banks from Texas, which for them I love, because just like the Jets, you got to shore up that whoever. Well, for the Bears, we know who their quarterback is, but you got to shore up that O line to keep him upright. He can't eat, especially with the Bears. Quarterback can't. We saw it with the Redskins this season. I'm sorry, the Commanders this season. If you can keep your quarterback standing up in the pocket and able to do what they need to do, whether it's scramble, whether it's pass, you're gonna win games. So I like that from that mock standpoint of the Bears shoring up that O-line, the Jets addressing the O-line concerns going forward. Browns taking Abdul Carter at 2 is not a stretch, because again, if you're getting rid of Myles Garrett, you got to replace Myles Garrett. Cam going 1 is exactly what I said anyway, him going to Tennessee. That Shador pick, I think it's either going to be Travis or Shador at 3. And Shador to the Patriots isn't bad either.
Okay, I'm looking at NFL.com, and this is how Daniel Jeremiah has his 2.0 mock draft. This is his second one. He has Abdul Carter going 1 to the Titans. Cam Ward going 2 to the Browns. Travis Hunter going to the Giants. Will Campbell going to the Patriots. Michigan defensive tackle Mason Graham going to the Jags at 5.
Okay.
Shador going to the Raiders at 6. And here's the first, like, kind of, if Will Campbell at 4 didn't shock you, and it don't shock me because I watched that kid play the last like 2-3 years at LSU. He's great. Tyler Warren, the Penn State tight end, going to the Jets at 7. That's what threw me off when I first read this, and it's only because you get a playmaker at tight end, yes, but do you want to I don't want to say waste the number 7 pick on the tight end, but do you want to spend the number 7 pick on the tight end when there's other guys out there that you can get, especially like offensive line?
That might be that actually may be a waste.
And see that I don't. The only reason why I don't want to call it a waste or anything like that right now is only because if they find a way to use him and to make him like basically a number 1 or number 2 receiving option, it kind of makes sense. But it's like at number 7, bro. Like when y'all got so much else wrong with this team that y'all need to fix, y'all pick the tight end. Like even I don't care if he's a big playmaker down the field and up the seam and he's a mismatch nightmare. Number 7, like come on. But Jalon Walker, the edge rusher from Georgia at 8 to the Panthers. Mike Green, the edge rusher out of Marshall to the Saints at 9, and then Kelvin Banks Jr., the offensive tackle to the Bears at 10.
Okay, so they still got Kelvin Banks going 10. So
right, and I mean we all pretty much know the Bears need to shore up that offensive line in order to protect Caleb Williams. So that's not like a stretch of the imagination to say that they're going to pick an offensive lineman at 10. It's just who's going to be there, and you know which guy they're going to take out of who's there or whatever, depending on how everything else goes. But I can't wait to see how everything looks. The combine is coming up. I want to say this week, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look this up real quick because I can't even remember when the combine is anymore. Like I used to know those dates. Let's see. Here we go. Dates, schedule, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I'm sorry. Next week. It's next week. So that's what we got is next week that they having it.
When does the draft?
It starts the combine starts Thursday the 27th through March 3rd. The draft is
usually April.
Yeah, it's April. It's like the 25th or so.
Let's see.
I don't want to see goddamn mock drafts. Shit. 24th, 25th, and 26th. There it goes. April 24th.
Oh, okay, so the weekend after Mania. Got it.
Yeah,
okay.
The weekend after Mania. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I knew it was like it's always like late April. I just couldn't remember which weekend in late April that it was. But yeah, 24th, 25th, 26th. So that'll be and it's in Green Bay. So I can't wait to see what that's gonna look like. Yeah, because normally it's in a decent sized city. This is gonna be the first time it's in like a really small, like intimate type of setting in Green Bay. Because the year it was in Nashville. I mean, I can't remember how big Nashville is compared to some of these other places or whatever, but I know like when they've had it in like Philly,
it seemed pretty big in that. It seemed pretty big in Nashville.
There was a lot of people out there, bro. It was a lot of people. There's always a lot of people.
You know what, Dre? Now that you say that, that's something on my bucket list too. I want to go to a draft. I'm like, I want to go like to the NFL draft. Like that's actually on my bucket list too. The NBA draft is a little different, but like to actually go to the NFL draft and sit with your team, you know what I mean? Like everybody else. Like I actually want to do that. Like just day one, maybe day two, maybe probably day 1 and 2, and then after that, I don't really care because it get boring after that.
I believe Travis is going to the combine as a corner. I don't know what they're going to officially have him listed as.
Yeah, he's no. He's going to the combine as a corner and wide receiver now. That came out today. At first, it was just corner, and then he's going to do corner and wide wide receiver. So
Because
as far as what he officially gets drafted as, I really don't think it matters. I think they just gonna put athlete. Like
real football player.
Yeah, it really don't even matter which one they draft him at, because he's very adamant about playing both sides of the ball. I think the closer we get to draft, though, I really do think that's going to change. But he is very adamant that he's playing both sides of the ball still. So
on NFL.com, when I was looking at Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft, and I was going to look at the other ones, but he's listed as wide receiver / cornerback.
Yeah.
So they still have it on their website or whatever what he's listed as. But yeah, it's just it's so crazy because we haven't seen a guy this gifted and talented on both sides of the ball in a long time. And the last one I remember that was this good on both sides of the ball, kind of, sort of, was like Champ Bailey and Charles Woodson. Like,
I was about to say, yeah, Charles and Champ probably, especially Charles.
Those were the last guys that I remember that could actually do it on both sides. Exactly, especially Woodson, because Champ was more of a corner and a return guy. He did some on offense, but I'll say maybe kind of, sort of Hines Ward, but Hines
also
Ward, they didn't want Hines Ward playing as much defense either after he got to.
What's his name that was with the? What's his name that was with the Bears? That was a returner.
Devin Hester.
Yeah, because Hester played some corner too, right?
He
was it just wide receiver?
But I think towards, like, I think very early on, it was just like special teams and wide receivers what they had him as, because it was just like, okay, him at corner, it just wasn't working.
What Dre just said? Yeah. Oh.
Boy, you done lost your damn rabbit ass mind. You need to stop. Stop doing drugs. Because
so I'm gonna tell you something.
This year's quarterbacks, no, bro. I think you just a prisoner of the moment. Hell no. There's no fucking way.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate on both sides, right? I think when it comes to the NFL, it's just like the NBA or any other sport. It's where you get drafted, right? Mm-hmm. Some people can get drafted into like a Jaden Daniels or mostly Jaden, into a great situation, right? Where they were only, in my opinion, a quarterback away. He just happened to be a really great rookie quarterback that came in, and they put the correct pieces around him. O-line was already set. They just ain't had the right quarterback back there, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Defensively, they were fine. They brought in a defensive-minded coach. They brought in a Cliff Kingsbury, who is an offensive savant when it comes to being a coordinator. Not so much as a head coach, but he's much better as a coordinator. I think they just had brought in the right pieces at the right time, and Jaden fell into a great situation, right? I think also, and it's not taking anything away from Jaden, but could I put Caleb Williams in that same situation and he thrived the same way? Yes. Could I take Michael Penix and put him in that same situation and he thrived the same way? Yes. In my opinion, in mine. And I'm not taking anything away from Jaden at all. It's not saying Jaden isn't good, but I also think in that particular situation with the Commanders, damn. It's hard not to call them the Redskins. I'm sorry. But I also think in that situation with the Commanders, it was more of a plug and play. I think you could have plugged any of those, not any, maybe even JJ. No, I don't think JJ. I don't think, and I'm not even because of the freak injury that happened. But I think those quarterbacks that I named, especially those two with Jaden, I think any of those three could have went to Washington, and it would have been, in my opinion, the same. Caleb, yeah, because I feel like you give Caleb the O-line where that keeps him upright, and he's picking you apart. We saw that even with the Bears. In those moments where he's able to just stand there, he picked the defenses apart. It was just when he was on his heels. I mean, that's any quarterback. When you're forced to run scared to not get popped and hit, you're gonna make mistakes and fuck up. So I think this year is gonna end up the same. It depends on where everybody goes. I just think the teams that are picking in certain situations, none of them are in Atlanta's situation from last year, Chicago's, Washington's, because I'm looking at Tennessee, and no matter who goes there, Tennessee's not going to be much better than what they were last year. Same thing with the Giants. That's the only difference when it comes to what Dre said is I can't really base. That's why I said I got to play devil's advocate. I can't base it off of that because the quarterbacks from this year are going into worse situations than those quarterbacks last year. Those quarterbacks last year fell into great situations, in my opinion. Atlanta was a great situation for Michael Penix to be able to sit back. And then once we knew Cousins was going cousin, he came in and he looked, he fell into a great situation. Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, even though Chicago didn't have the best of records, he still, in my opinion, fell into a great situation. So quarterbacks this year are going to be held at a different benchmark because the teams they're going to go to are ass. Cleveland's ass. Like the Titans are. That's if Cleveland takes a quarterback, but I'm just like, as we're looking at who's picking, the Raiders are ass. The Giants are ass. Tennessee's ass. So any of these really great or good quarterbacks are going to go into situations. Seattle, I think Seattle's a great team. I think they're pretty much, I forgot where they're picking, but they're going to take a quarterback more than likely. I really like, what's his name from Ole Miss? Jackson Dart. I like Jackson Dart going to Seattle a lot. I think if Seattle takes a quarterback, now whoever goes there is going to fall into a great situation.
They got I see them taking an offensive lineman in one mock draft at 18. I don't think nobody has them taking a quarterback.
They may not reach. I don't think they're going to reach in the first round. I think whoever they want is going to be there in the second, maybe third, specifically second. I see them taking a quarterback, but they may not reach in the first unless they feel some type of panic. But they also could make a trade with a Cleveland.
Now the thing that I see, the problem that I have with that statement is I'm not even looking at the situation that these guys are going in because I can't really compare them or contrast them. I'm not about to hurt my brain that much, but what I will say is like when I look at like the skill sets and certain things that these guys have compared to what those guys had last year, Shedeur does not have the arm strength or the athleticism to run like a Jaden Daniels does. Cam Ward has a decent arm, but I don't even think he can't throw the deep ball as accurate as Jaden Daniels can. There's certain decision making and accuracy issues that I see with these guys this year that I didn't really see with a lot of those guys last year. Now Caleb Williams was different because sometimes what Caleb Williams will do is he likes to play off schedule and stuff like that, and he likes to kind of wing it a little bit. And he realized that he was going to have to do a whole lot more of that, a whole lot quicker once he got to the league because he didn't have the protection and he didn't have the weapons. And well, he had the weapons, but it was just like he didn't have the protection. So it's like he had to adjust his game. But I just see those guys last year had certain skills and skill sets and stuff like that these guys don't really have or possess. That's what I look at when I say these guys this year wouldn't have gotten drafted as high if they were the same quarterbacks that came out with last year's crop. That's why I say like some of those guys last year, they had some skills and some intangibles and whatnot that these guys don't really have. But the thing that I like about Cam and I like about Shedeur is they're competitors. And you can tell that watching their training.
High motors.
they're competitors and they want to be great and they're dedicated to the craft. And as long as they stay focused on the main thing and keep the main thing and stay dedicated to their craft, I think that they'll make the necessary improvements that they need to make if they have the right coaching and then they get the right players around them. That I'll put it to you like that. I can see where you would like these guys more because they have that little that dog in them, you know, for lack of a better term. But it's just like I just feel like the guys last year, they were more highly skilled than the guys coming out this year. That's just how I see it. But I mean, again, it's something that it takes sometimes at least 2 to 3, maybe 4 years before you can really tell, okay, was this draft pick worth it, or were they a bust, or however you want to call it or label it, because you got to let things play out. And there's also the factor of when you're factoring in quarterbacks, they're asked to do so much, and a lot of times they're asked to do a lot early on because of where they're drafted and what they mean to a team and a team's success. And so you got to kind of
personally, I hate that so much.
It's just the way football is right now, and it sucks.
I hate it.
But going back to address Dre's his question a little bit earlier, real quick before we wrap it up. But when it comes to the salary cap, a quarterback salary, getting that quarterback on that rookie salary, or, you know, God forbid, if you sign a free agent, if you get him on a really cheap deal, but getting a quarterback on a rookie deal is critical to a team's success long-termly, because you can build around that guy more quickly because you have more cap space, because quarterback contracts take up a chunk of your cap space. And so when you can hit on that guy, you're good for at least 5 years, because you got 4 years of his rookie deal, the 5th year option, and then you may have that extension kick in after that. But when you don't hit on that guy, you got to eject quickly and look for the next. But to answer his question, it didn't jump by 277. It potentially is going to go up to between 277 and like 282 or whatever.
Yeah, somewhere in that range.
By 277, it just went from, I want to say, like 250 or
258. I think it was like 258 to 277, 282.
Yeah,
somewhere
it went up like about 15-20 million. It didn't go up by 277 million. So just be careful when you read in that stuff, because the way they write those headlines and those taglines and stuff like that, you got to be really careful and read the actual wording, or else you'll get tripped up by it. But the salary cap goes up every year incrementally, depending on the TV contracts and the money and the revenues and all of that kind of stuff. And because the players are supposed to get a certain percentage of league revenues. And so they base it on all of that. And that's how you set the salary cap every year. Real quick, but just as an example, the NBA and the NBA PA, they screwed up theirs that year when I remember like Luol Deng and Timothy Mozgov were free agents, and they signed like these stupid deals with the Lakers. Because that year in the NBA, the salary cap shot up like 50-60 million. And it was like, I want to say the cap at that time, it was like maybe like 120 or something, and it went up to like 170. It was like stupid. Whatever it was, it went up far enough to where players were getting these stupid contracts that one free agency year, and then teams were starting to be smart about it again. But the cap goes up anywhere, I want to say, between like 10, maybe 15% or so, roughly every year. Sometimes less than that. Sometimes it's maybe only a 5 to 8% increase. But there's a slight increase every year, typically with the salary cap. It just depends on the revenues and whatnot for the league. But yeah, man, that's basically how it goes. It's not anything like that where you're gonna hear it like shoot way up or go stupid or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? And I had to bring this one back because that damn hat Keyz showed me earlier.
Hey man, I'm ordering that hat,
Bruh. That hat cold.
Nah, it definitely is. Look, I have a whole Amazon cart not even a cart, like a folder or whatever you do, a list
Yeah.
of like NASCAR
The
stuff
wish
I want.
list. Wish
Yes.
list.
I got a whole wish
Bruh.
list of like NASCAR stuff I'm trying to get. It was like some NBA stuff, some NFL. There's some baseball in there. Like every time I see something, I'm throwing it in the wish list because I'm like, all right, I need that. At some point, I'm gonna pull the trigger and get this.
Yeah, I had that. I was looking at that smoker and shit, and then I had took it off of there. And when my sister was here for Thanksgiving, they're like, "Hey, you should look back at it because got all them sales and stuff."
Mm-hmm.
And when they shipped the wrong thing and had to resend it, at that point, it had already went back up to like $300, and I got it for like $200. Bruh, I was like, "Hey, that's the best $200 I ever spent." Besides some shoes.
Listen, I am so ready to put together this this grill, man. I'm trying to just figure out at what point. Sometime in March, I'm gonna put it together because as soon as it's warm in April, I'm outside.
Dog, I got my butcher paper and everything from the store the other day. Like I'm ready. I'm ready. I got these it's the split like turkey breast. I'm gonna make the brine for it probably. I don't know if I'm gonna do it Friday or Saturday, and then I'm gonna put the turkey breast in the brine, and then I'm gonna smoke it the next day. So I'm about to get to work over here.
Okay.
But man, for Keyz, for myself,
Listen.
for all 200 and some of y'all that participated, tuned in, whatever. Appreciate y'all. And definitely for the sponsors, Jail Blasters, Inplay Dogs, all other sponsors and all that on the network and everybody else, Dre, Susio Boys and all of them, Ahan, Sloan, Marty. Marty was in here earlier too. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to y'all, man. We'll see y'all next week. Later.